You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN E-Mini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things E-Mini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold,
The broadcast is now
bonds,
starting. All
crude,
attendees are
sugar,
in
the
listen-only
euro.
mode.
Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today's Thursday, 3rd day of July 2025. Tomorrow's the big day, 4th of July. 250 years. And America's starting to look like what our forefathers had originally envisioned. I'm calling it the Roaring 20s. How about you? Thanks so much for joining us. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. We do 2 live broadcasts every trading day. Now, the first live broadcast, that's our live training room. So to get in there, you have to be one of our traders or taking the 1-week free trial. If you have not yet taken the 1-week free trial, when Michael joins us in just a few minutes, he'll show you exactly how to do it. He'll walk you through it step by step. Now, he's going to come on first today, but because the markets are closing half day today in honor of the holiday tomorrow, he's going to come on first and just do a recap of what happened in the live training room. We won't be doing any live trading on this broadcast today like we normally do. And then as soon as he's done with the recap of the live training room, then I will begin where I normally begin each and every day, right here with our daily devotional. So, let's cover a couple things. If you've been watching this broadcast for any length of time, I'm sure you want to become a member. I mean, who wouldn't, right? Go to mytradingiq.com, watch the videos, read the content, and when you get your mind made up that you're sick and tired of wasting your time and treasure on all these parlor tricks and sleight of hand acts, send an email to support@cfrn.net. In the email, just say, I want to become a member. We don't discriminate. However, if you're a veteran, we want to thank you for your service. So in that email, say, I am a veteran and I would like to become a member. Because Valerie is going to send you a reply email that explains everything you get when you become a member. And there'll be a link for you to click and sign the deal. So, or seal the deal. You don't have to sign anything. Now, if you are a veteran, we're going to give you a discount, okay? Because we do thank you for your service. If you're not a veteran, that's okay. It's going to blow your mind how much you get for so little. Everything a trader needs, all under one roof, one low price. 2 hours of live training every trading day. These are real trades with real money in real time. Michael explains every trade he takes, every move he makes, and you see the results right before your eyes. Your job is to listen, learn, ask every question that pops into your head, and trade along in your demo account so you can qualify to go live. Along with 2 hours of live training every day, you're going to get one-on-one private mentoring at your request. The strategy you learn, the indicators you own as a passport holder, are fluid across all markets and all time frames. Stocks, futures, crypto, Forex, ETFs. Doesn't matter. Price flows the same across all markets and all time frames. from support to resistance, back to support, back to resistance, over and over, again and again. It's a never-ending cycle. You get the concierge trade alerts the second they're published each evening. Monday mornings at 6:15 a.m. Eastern, you'll get the weekly trading zones. And once they're published, they're carved in stone for the entire week. They do not change in any way whatsoever. And on Thursday afternoons, you'll get an invitation to attend the members only workshop every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. And you get the golden key that opens all the private channels in Telegram. Now, when you're on the trial, there's public channels so that you can talk to our traders and ask them about their experience, how they went from being consistently unprofitable to being consistently profitable. It's not a mirage, it's not a magic act. We have no crystal balls. The secret to trading is you need somebody to teach you how to trade. And that's what we've been doing since 2005. That's right, we're celebrating our 20th year anniversary. Michael is here, so he's going to take the screens. He'll do a recap of what happened in the live training room this morning. Then I'll come back and we'll start the show out just like we do every single day with our daily devotional.
All right. As fast as I could.
You did good. And your charts.
Right. Excellent. Here we go. Don't have the thing. I'll make that for next week yet. She did. Okay. Let me just fix that right quick. Do it over here on this side. Let's click on that. Slide that over here. And this, I'm just going to fix the website really quick so it's updated. The latest and greatest.
Now he's going to walk you through step by step how to take the trial. Take it today so you get your indicators indicating today. You'll have the weekend to get familiar with them. And then we go to work Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern. And you'll have access to whatever we do Sunday night. And then you'll have all of next week with access to everything, not just the live training room. Ready? He's still tinkering.
Just about. I got to get the verify code. Yeah, just there. Hang on. It's almost here. I'm gonna publish.
By the way, if you're new,
as soon as I bring it up, here it is.
Tuning in for the first time, feel free to ask any questions that you have. Nobody sees what you type but myself and Michael, and we're certainly not here to judge you. We're here to try to help you. So don't hold back, whether you're tuned in via our platform or you're on the YouTube channel. If you got questions, the best way to learn is to ask.
Yes, ask the questions. Any questions you might have, just type them into the question box. The only people who can see what you actually type in are me and Dwayne. So if you have any questions at all, just type them in there, and we will be able to do our best to answer them anyway. Okay, so we are now updated. If I refresh this page, there we go. All right, so we can get started. All right. Sorry, that took a couple of minutes, but I didn't realize she'd done the thing. So here we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Thursday, 3rd day of July 2025. It's the day before a holiday, and it's actually the markets are closing in less than an hour. So we'll get in there and take whatever trades we can take, but pretty good today. If you've taken a free trial with us and you want to have a long trial, sign up for the trial now. It's a free day, 5-day trial. But if you sign up now, you get the rest of today, tomorrow, over the weekend, and then all of next week. So sign up for the trial now if you want. Or go to mytradingiq.com, click on the purple button. This is what I just did for all you guys who are wondering what I was just, this is what I just did for all you guys who are wondering what I'm just doing. You click on, and it's going to bring you to this registration. This one, all right? Starts you out on Monday for the room in the morning. Get all the information for the room in the morning, okay? Click on that. do that, when you go to the registration page down here at the bottom, make sure you give us your TradingView login ID. All we really ask for is your name, your email, your phone number. We're not going to call you unless you want us to. Then go down here to the bottom and give us your TradingView login ID. If you don't have a TradingView login, click on this and follow the video, okay? Go to TradingView. A really good sale going on right now. TradingView. I think that sales good through tomorrow. So click on and go get the TradingView platform. All right, the essential is the minimum that you need. You could do it with basic, but you really don't want to get the essential. It's cheaper to go and get real-time data. All right, so the recap: we had a pretty good day today. So far, best out of 3. It was actually pretty good compared to all the days last month too. It was like probably the best out of last month too. But if you're going to read the spreadsheet, you have to read all the CFTs down at the bottom. Today is the 3rd day of July 2025. Made 164 ticks on the NQ, 23 ticks on the Russell, 27 on gold, and we did ES trade. I even went back and looked at it, and there wasn't a valid ES trade all morning. So that puts us at $1,205 on the morning session. Today it took 5 minutes and 3 trades. It's $2,300. That's with 10 contracts. So I took a total of 28 trades. So on the month, $2,297 over business days, averaging $765 per contract per business day. On the year now, we're at $157,762, 12 business days, $1,408 per contract per 2-hour bid. If you were following 20 contracts over 24 months, then starting at 1 contract and adding a contract for every $2,000 that you make in profit. If you did that, it should work out to about 1 a month. If you added 1 per month, you'd be in your 7th contract right now. And if you traded just like I did in the morning sessions, it is significant that you start at 927. Like that is a significant difference between starting at 927 and 930. But if you did it just like I did, you would have only had to work 13.5 hours so far this year. You have $65,737. So you'd be averaging $4,845 an hour. Gross. Now, the actual trades. Let's get into it. We had, except yes, we have a single trade on the it doesn't look like one happened either, because this is where we wrapped it this morning, right in here, and where it came out of the oversold right here. I guess you could argue that was a trade, first trade on the break-even trade. But the markets are really slow. I don't know that we're going to have trades here. Once I start actually trading, I don't know with any trades. We'll see. All right, so I made a couple of mistakes this morning. As you can see, the 2 of them here that we just saw. This is the gold. We started out with a break even here on the gold. And then the next trade, we picked up 5 ticks on that one. Then we picked up 5 more on that to get us to 10. Then picked up 1 there to get us to 11. And then I made a mistake there. That was a break even. And I made another mistake there. And that one cost me 15 ticks. So this one, my mistake was it hadn't made it into the overbought, and I ended up taking a break even on that. And the next, what was my mistake on the next one? Oh, I didn't move the stop to break even. That's what it was. I didn't move the stop. And it looks like I should have gotten some profit out, but I didn't. I ended up stopping. Right after that, though, we got it back with a 16 tick trade. After the stop out, we were at -4. Then we had a 16 tick trade there that got us up to plus. Then the 10 tick that got us to 20. Then a 5 tick that got us to 20. And that is where we ended it with the gold for the morning. This was right at the close of the session. This, I think it brought, after it came out of the oversold right here, it brought the midpoint. If it was actually off the midpoint, actually, no, that wasn't a trade. It brought the swing low up to it. That wasn't a valid trade in there. So there was no trade there. No trade there. You flipped the YBR over, so no trade there. You would have been looking in the opposite direction. So you could have had a trade right, a short where you came out of the overbought. Could have had a trade right there. And that was all that was on gold. Okay. That was the gold for today. The Russell. This is almost the whole day in the Russell. All right, here it was. Our first trade was on the Russell. Yeah, I picked up 10 ticks on this first trade on the Russell. next one right here, we worked up 8 more ticks to get us 18. Then there was a trade in here somewhere that we don't have, and then we stopped out on this one. The trade in here that I didn't have up 20 ticks, 14 ticks it looks like, no, 16 ticks. 16 ticks to get us to 34, and then we stopped out on this that brought us down. Then we had a 1 that got us to 15. Then we had there's a couple of trades I didn't add in here. We got a 1 that brought us to 15, and then we had 8, 3, that whatever those two were. Okay, so not adding those two in, I'm sure makes up for the 1 trade that I didn't add in over here either. I did actually credit for that, but I didn't put the Apple. I don't know where exactly it was. It was probably right here. That would have been the trade right there. And then I forgot to add those on. So whatever those were. Above the YBRs, were sold after it's gone all the way into the overbought. So the next trade, you wouldn't have anything all through here, right? The next trade would have been right. That would have worked out okay. Then it flipped the YBR down. You wouldn't have anything because it didn't hit the midpoint until all the way over here. Okay, you never had a trade in there. Then it flipped it over again. Now you're in the break right here. It flipped it over again. It didn't have anything there. I wouldn't have done this because of how far back it pulled. Flipped it again. This would have been the first trade that I would have attempted right here, the short right here. Okay. And this one right, this down close right here would have been an okay trade to try to. You would have had a little profit on that, a little profit on that. But that's still a profit right now, doesn't matter. And that was the Russell. The yes, I'm going to show you the yes, take a single trade on it, but you can see this is the whole day. It was bullish all day. All right. But every time it came out of the oversold, you weren't there at the midpoint. Every time it went into or came out of the oversold, you weren't there at the midpoint. Every time. If I take off, I know it's a little deceiving. If you keep looking, you might think that lower line is the thing you're looking for, but it's not. See right here, where it came out of the oversold, nowhere near the midpoint. Right here, where it came out of the oversold, not near the midpoint. Right here, where it came out of the oversold, that one was actually on the midpoint. That was a 10-15. I guess I missed that one. That was okay trade right there. Then you get in toward the break, not near the midpoint. And then finally over here, this one here, it's again where it came out of the oversold, it wasn't really on top of the midpoint. I thought it was, but it wasn't. So the only one that it really had was right here. That was the only one, and I didn't really notice that this morning. So really nothing to trade on the ES. Now this, prior to today, this was the all-time high, this red one. So I put that in there when the news came out this morning. I'm sure Dwayne covered this already. Oh no, he didn't cover this. He's going to cover this. I'm going first. When the news came out this morning, it was all good news, and Dwayne will cover that with you guys. But it popped it right here, and it went right through, gapped through the all-time high, right? Through the all-time high. And it never went back. It went back to it, right? Didn't it? But it still didn't fill the gap. This right here, this rectangle is the gap that needs to get filled. Okay, it did pop back down to the all-time high and used it as support rate. And it's up ever since. This is the all-time high rate a few minutes ago. So this right here did not make it into the overbought. So coming out of the oversold right here is not going to be a trade. Okay, for anybody that's curious. Now the NQ. We made a mistake on the NQ as well in there somewhere, I think. All right, so on the NQ, we started out here with a plus 36. This is where we got the goal for the day, with the plus 36 on this trade, right? Then we break even there. Then we stopped out on that down to 11. And we had plus 4 that got us to 15. Then a plus 20 that got us to 35. Then a 24 that got us to 59. Then a 12 that got us to 7. Then I'm from 71 to 87. So somehow on this I picked up. I guess it pulled back and then I got it down here. From 71 to 87, 16 ticks there. Then went from 87 to 91 on that one, and then 91 to 111 on that one, then 111 to 156 on that one, and then 156 to 164 on that one, and that is where we end. So I don't see any questions in here yet, but during the break, it looks like right here, there was a really nice one right there. That's one of the easy and obvious trades right there, guys. You could have been aggressive on that because the down close, I'm sorry, you couldn't. You had to wait for the up close. You had to be conservative. The down close was on this bar. You had to be conservative with the bounce off. That was a great trade. Easy and obvious trade right there. The next one was right. That wasn't a good trade. That wasn't a valid trade. Then nothing after that until all the way over here. This has been a valid trade right here where it came out of the oversold on this spot. Still above the YBR until all the way over here. So this right here would have been a valid trade right here. And that was it this morning. That was, so let me minimize that. Okay. And that, and that. Okay. So now, that down close there was a shorting opportunity. And let's just put it like this. If you haven't taken a free trial with us and you want to, now is the perfect time to take a trial. We might have a trade over here on gold if we get enough on this bar. Okay. It's going to take a couple of bars here on the Russell to give you a trade. If we get enough close on this on the NQ, that would put you in the overbought. So the two potential trades we have right now are on the NQ and on the gold. Okay, on the NQ and on the. If you have not taken a free trial with us and you want to, that you're in the overbought, you're right at the midpoint. You could aggressively short that if you want to, or you can be conservative and wait for the down close. If you want to be right now, it's still too late to be aggressive. Just still not too late to be aggressive. Okay, it's going to go down to 81.50 to bump the stop, and there it is. Stop to break even. And let's just lock in 4 ticks on that. Now we get the down close. It should go right down to the swing low after we get the down close on that. Okay, but we've locked in 4 ticks on that so far. And over here on the gold, we still need the up close to get this into the overbought. There's the down close. So that's the conservative trade right now. If you entered right now, that'd be the conservative trade. Okay, but I'm already in because I went in great fun. It was right there. That was a perfect aggressive trade. I just get 8 ticks, but it was a perfect aggressive trade right there where it closed right on the point when it went into the overbought. I'm going to take that trade every time. Okay. But we just picked up 8 more ticks. And gold, we're still waiting to see what that's going to do over there. The Russell is actually giving us a trade rate. The Russell gives you down close right now, 61.2 down to 60.2. Okay, 61.2 down to 62 on the Russell. That's where my sell stop limit is right there. That's about to give us a trade too. And there it is. All right, so we're filled on that trade. And that should go down here. Now, when this gets 5 ticks in progress, over here on this, I had to go 2.5 points, 10 ticks in profit on the NQ. We're on a 19 range on the NQ. Right, we're on a 9 range on the Russell. So this is going to get down to 0.6 to bump the stops even. Right, it shouldn't have any problem getting to 0.7. One more tick. There it is. Shouldn't have any problem getting there. And now, okay, so we got 8 over here. We got 10 right now on this. It should go down to the swing low and then find some support. So I'm going to trail it pretty close. 6. And we're out with 6. So we got 8 on the NQ and 6 on the Russell. And we still didn't get a trade over here on the gold. Okay. The ES doesn't have anything either. All right. Does anybody have any questions? And I went right at 12:05. It's been 20 minutes. I did fix the web page so that this now goes to where it's supposed to go. If you've not taken a free trial, go to mytradingaq.com, click on the purple button. It's going to bring you, well, to this registration page right here. So they're having a great sale if you pay for the annual. It's literally 70% off. 70% off annual. Even if you've already paid for an annual, you can get another year of annual, 20% off the current price. So it really is. Okay. Just something to consider. Yeah, your goal. All right, let's down the NQ. Did you get it over on the Russell? Those two trades, that one and the Russell one, were also to get the goal for the day. Took a little more on the Russell than I did. I think I only took 6 ticks on that Russell. The NQ, yeah, right. So that's 14 altogether. I need to get 20 between the two of those to get the goal for the. Good, Wes. All right, so the gold finally did give the up close. It got you in the overbought. It's a little bit below the midpoint, so I'm going to wait for the conservative trade, the down close, right? It's got a higher 37.7, so I'll 36.7. Sorry, 36.7. Here it is. Okay, if this bar closes up, I'm just going to cancel the trade. We don't have that much time left. The markets are closing in half an hour. So we're back in the overbought over here on the NQ. Now a down close on this is going to put you right there at the point, just a little above it. Okay, it's a little bit of risk in here trading right now. I'm on the down close on that. I'll probably skip it. The ES never gave a trade. I still don't have a single trade on the ES. And I have nothing really set up. So, all right, I'm going to cancel the order over here. Let it do its thing. And it might do it, it might not. But we have a couple of minutes left anyway. All right, there is a couple of things that I have to in here today. So this down close over here is not at the midpoint. I'm not going to take that trade on the NQ. This is not going to be at the midpoint on the Russell. I'm not going to do anything with that. This is not going to be at the midpoint on the ES. It's not even in the overbought yet. This one on the gold would be at the midpoint if we had a down close. It'd be right at the midpoint, but a little above it. At this juncture, we have a minute and a half left, so I don't think I'm going to do anything else. I could stretch it out since I was 5 minutes late. I guess I could say we have 6.5 minutes left. But Dwayne probably wants to get on. As we approach our holiday weekend. Now, there was something I was looking for earlier. It's not in that one. Today is the 3rd. Okay. Okay. Oh, that's okay. That's right. I'm just realizing what time it is. Yeah, I'm still in here. It's still okay. But I mean, we traded a couple of times. We had a couple of winning trades, and now the market surges. Yeah. Well, we got a half an hour left, so I'm gonna wrap it up. So market, you do yours. But it is, yes, Westgate is. We're talking on that rough. But I really don't see anything else that you want to trade right here, right now. Okay. So we'll wrap it up. Today, this is how we ended $1,205, counting what we did in. So we're up 160.23 on the Russell, 27 on gold, no trades on the ES. So if you had those last couple on there, we're up 172 on the NQ and 29 on the Russell. It took 5 minutes and 3 trades to get to the goal for the day. $2,300 at that point. On the month, we're at $2,297 over 3 business days, averaging $765 per contract per 2-hour business day. Right. So we end up finishing up halfway through the year with $155,465. That's 6 full months completed. $155,465 with 1 contract. I think that's pretty much a record.
1 contract.
All right. Yes, contract. Now, if you've not taken a trial, I've said this a bunch of times now, but we're at mytradingq.com. The trial, if you start today, it'll be good all the way until a week from. So
Tomorrow.
That's right. So sign up for the trial right now. No credit card required for the trial. Okay. And that's it. And I'm passing back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona. Studio A overlooking well, America's largest. If you are ready. Okay, and let me just throw this out there. We are going to cancel the partners meeting tonight. Okay, so then you guys that are listening, right? I'm just gonna go to
It's sort of become a tradition. When Friday's a holiday, we take Thursday night off. So, all right. Well, listen, you have a good weekend.
You too. You too.
Make good decisions.
I will try to make good decisions.
And have fun.
Hoping. Yes, you as well.
All right.
You as well.
All right, buddy. All right, guys, we're going to dive in.
You didn't ask the question.
Oh, God, what's wrong with me?
You're rushing right off.
Recap of the morning session.
Today it took 5 minutes and 3 trades to get to $2,300. That's it, with 10 contracts.
What a beautiful way to end the week. Today was the best day of the week, right?
It was, in fact, the best day of the week.
Nice. Very nice.
Right.
All right, guys, we're going to
now quit trading this. Okay.
We're going to switch gears and jump into our daily devotional. Our schedule is posted right here, but Michael's already done his part, so now we're going to do my part. The topic of the devotion that we're on right now, we're in day 7 of 10, the holy hustle, embracing a work hard, rest well life. Today's scripture is Romans 12, verses 9 through 10, and I'm going to share from the Message translation. Love from the center of who you are. Don't fake it. Run for dear life from evil. Hold on for dear life to good. Be good friends who love deeply. Practice playing second fiddle. Now, that's not what the world tells you. So, when I stopped preaching, my wife and I, we started going to a little church called Praise City. It wasn't so little, but we were having our services in a local elementary school gymnasium. It's what they call a put-up, tear-down church. Every Sunday morning, a bunch of volunteers would show up, and we would convert this gymnasium that we paid a fortune in rent on. We would make it a church. And we had 2 services, and then when both services were done, same volunteers would tear it all down and put it in storage till the next week. So I'm telling you that because maybe you go to that kind of church. You might be in a gym with a preacher wearing jeans, but if it's a good church, you'll still hear the gospel preached as clearly as in a sanctuary with stained glass, with a pastor wearing dress pants and a tie. You know, I haven't seen a preacher in a suit in a long time. Now, one Sunday, my wife and I were listening to a powerful message in that gymnasium about generosity. At the end of the service, we were asked to share what we would do if we found $100 just laying on the ground, ours to spend any way we liked. So we began to talk about it. What did our family need most at that very moment? How would $100 change our circumstances? Other members of the congregation shared a few ideas: home improvement projects, new clothes for school, a meal to share with extended family. Across the gymnasium, a woman stood up and spoke through her tears. She said she would use the money to take her children away for a night to a hotel with a pool so they could laugh and play and be away just for a few hours from the abuse and fear of the night before. It was stunningly honest, vulnerable, and heartbreaking. The pastor called her to the front, pulled $100 out of his wallet, and gave it to her. No strings attached. She just sobbed. You have no idea. You have no idea. Church members in the seats nearby rose and surrounded her, a wall of prayer and support building around her as she wept. It was unplanned and unexpected, but a powerful challenge. So let me ask you that question. What would you do? What would you use $100 for? Would you use it for no other purpose than to outdo someone and honor and love by blessing them when God says give? Whether you happen to have the money already in your wallet or you need to save for 6 months, can we all decide together right now to take the challenge? As we do the work God has given us, let's be good stewards of the resources He provides and show others that the holy hustle is different, because we care more about people than platforms. Kindness matters. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, teach us to love sincerely, to hate what is evil, and to cling to what is good. Help us honor others above ourselves and show genuine kindness in everything we do. May our love reflect your heart. It's in Jesus' name we believe and pray. And everybody said, amen. Amen and happy Thursday. Almost said Friday. Feels like a Friday. Let me give you the numbers from around the world. We'll start in the U.S. with the cash markets, or the indices as they're called. Currently the Dow's up 358 points, almost 1%. The Nasdaq's up 206 points, which is just over 1%. S&P 500 is up 53, almost 1%. And the Russell 2000, or man in the streets, up 17 points. That's 0.75%. In the commodity basket, crude oil down 66 cents, trading 66.79 last. That's a drop of almost 1%. Gold down $21.40, trading 33.3860 last. Silver up 26 cents, trading 36.99 last. That's a gain of about 0.75%. In the Asian markets at the close, Nikkei up 23 points, Shanghai up 6, The Hang Seng down 151. And in the European markets at the close, FTSE up 48, the DAX up 144, the CAC up 16. So we had a mixed day in Asia. It was a green day for the UK. And so far, it's a big green Radio Thursday here in the US of A. So let's go to the global news, then we'll hit the market news, and then the local news. Tomorrow makes 249 years since the Second Continental Congress adopted the Declaration of Independence. Founding father and second president John Adams expected it would be celebrated on July 2nd, the day delegates voted to break from Great Britain. But the idea didn't catch on. Today, the 4th of July is synonymous with fireworks and barbecues, though some people celebrate in more peculiar ways. Instead of celebrating the flag, they burn it. And there's going to be a lot of that going on all around America. I think we should just round them all up and ship them off to Alligator Alcatraz, but it's not my call. Since July 4th, 1776, the U.S. has grown from 13 colonies with 2.5 million people to 50 states and 14 territories with over 342 million people, connected by roughly 5,000 airports, 4 million miles of roads, 140,000 miles of train tracks, and 5.5 million miles of power lines. The economy has prospered to nearly 30 trillion. Public health advances have dwindled. The child mortality rate is now under 1%, and Americans live over 3 decades longer on average. Meanwhile, homegrown scientific achievements have delivered everything from the light bulb and modern flight to the internet and air conditioning. If I had to choose between the internet and air conditioning, I think I'd have to go with the AC. I live in Phoenix. We've also sent over 300 citizen astronauts to space, the most of any country. Since last Independence Day, an American infant was successfully treated with a novel gene editing technique. Computers are becoming exponentially faster problem solvers, and the James Webb Telescope photographed its first new planet. America's story is still unfolding, with new milestones to reach and new challenges to overcome. Tomorrow invites us to reflect on our progress and draw inspiration for the next 249 years. Well, it's not been a good week for Sean Diddy Combs. He was found guilty of 2 of 5 counts against him yesterday, capping his weeks-long high-profile sex crimes trial. The hip-hop mogul was acquitted of all sex trafficking and racketeering charges, which carried sentences of life in prison. He was convicted of 2 lesser counts of transportation to engage in prostitution, one involving an anonymous woman and another involving his ex-girlfriend, Cassandra Cassie Ventura Fine. Combs faces up to 20 years in prison, with sentencing to come at a later date. I guess it depends on who the judge is. I think most Americans would like to see him get the full 20, because, they're really serious charges. Somehow he finagled his way out of those. 34 witnesses testified for the prosecution, including former partners, employees, and rapper Kid Cudi, who accused Combs of breaking into his home and firebombing his Porsche At the center of the case were allegations Combs led a criminal enterprise, with prosecutors highlighting hundreds of Combs' freak-off parties where he was accused of engaging in abuse and coercion. Combs maintains all encounters were consensual. Well, we've all seen the video from that hotel where he was beating that woman down right out in the hallway. I don't think that was consensual. She didn't look like she was enjoying what he was doing to her. We'll see what the judge does. Paramount Global has agreed to pay $16 million to settle President Donald Trump's lawsuit with subsidiary CBS News. The deal ends the dispute over an October 2024 60 Minutes interview in which CBS edited then Vice President Kamala Harris's comments on Gaza. Trump contends CBS edited the interviews to favor Harris, then a presidential candidate, by excluding a wordy response, word salad, and promoting two separate clips as responses to the same question. Trump alleges the edits amount to election interference and violate a Texas law on deceptive acts in commerce. CBS maintains it edited the interview for concision and clarity. The company did not apologize as part of yesterday's settlement, but committed to releasing transcripts of interviews with future presidential candidates after they air, and will pay the fee to Trump's presidential library. And you can go on the internet right now and see the actual published interview and the raw footage. The settlement comes as Paramount pursues an $8.4 billion merger with Skydance Media, pending approval from the Federal Communications Commission, lovingly known as the FCC. All right, let's head to Wall Street. U.S. stocks popped and aimed for more records today as investors digested a stronger than expected June jobs report. That kind of dampened hopes for a Federal Reserve interest rate cut soon. Now how sick is that? Okay? We have more jobs. That means the economy is doing really well. Inflation is low. But Jerome's going to use as an excuse to not lower rates. The jobs report that came out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern this morning showed an increase of 147,000 jobs added in June versus the analyst expectations of 106,000. Meanwhile, the unemployment rate unexpectedly ticked down to 4.1%, and the May payrolls print was revised higher. And all the heads on the left exploded. How can this be possible? There's tariffs. Tariff's not a dirty word. It's saving this country. So the odds of a rate cut at the Federal Reserve's next meeting evaporated. According to Joe Brussels, RSM chief economist, you're not going to get a July rate cut now. That's completely off the table. Traders agree with that assessment. On Thursday morning today, the odds of a cut at the Fed's July 28th and 29th meeting fell near 5% from nearly 25%, according to the CME FedWatch tool. I wonder what the odds are in Vegas. They're probably not even taking bets anymore because it's not going to happen. This is the very excuse Jerome needed. Now, how does President Trump feel about this? Well, he said Jerome Powell should resign immediately in a Truth Social post last night, increasing a White House pressure campaign on the Federal Reserve Chairman that has been intensifying this week. Trump started this week by publicly criticizing the Fed and Powell for not lowering rates already. He posted a note he sent to Powell telling the Fed chair, "Jerome, you are as usual too late," and arguing that he has cost the USA a fortune. And that's true. His press secretary held up the note at the White House on Monday so reporters could see it. The House of Representatives is barreling towards a final vote on President Trump's big, beautiful bill, with Republicans increasingly likely to send a massive piece of legislation that will be felt across the economy for many years to come to the president's desk. Approval is far from assured, but White House and Republican leaders inched closer to victory this morning after a pressure campaign and yet another all-night session on Capitol Hill appeared to satisfy Republican holdouts concerned about things like the multi-trillion-dollar price tag and health care cuts. The only health care cuts are fraud, waste, abuse, and illegal immigrants. Why should you, a hard-working American taxpayer, pay for the health care of someone who's in this country illegally? If they would just self-deport, the taxpayers have agreed to buy them a plane ticket, coach, not first class. Give them a $1,000 check when they get home, and put them at the top of the list to come back legally. The vote timing is uncertain, with Democratic Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries holding the House floor for over 6 hours in a speech that lambasted the bill on varied fronts, including at one point calling it a crime scene. This guy. Yet a vote is expected within hours, and House Speaker Mike Johnson projected confidence earlier in the morning as the legislators on his side of the aisle raced to give the president a signature political victory and approve the bill before the self-imposed July 4th deadline. Johnson told reporters at about 3 a.m. Eastern, "We have the votes. President Trump is waiting with his pen. No auto pen. He's going to sign it himself in front of the world." Billionaire investor Bill Ackman. Now, I don't know how many of you are familiar with Bill Ackman. He's the one that said he was going to short Herbalife into oblivion. And he lost that bet. Ackman has called on Andrew Cuomo to step aside from the New York City mayoral race and allow incumbent Eric Adams to take on Democratic communist Zohran Mamdani in November. Ackman posted on X that he met with both the mayor and former governor this week and determined Adams is ready to go to battle with the 33-year-old Queens Assemblyman, while Cuomo is just not up for the fight. Now, I posted everywhere I have an account yesterday, including the Breeze channel. The would-be communist mayor swearing that he never said anything about taking people's private homes and apartments in New York City. And then Sean Hannity played the video of him saying those very things. Yet he still denies he ever said it. I posted the video. You can actually go to Truth Social, go to Instagram, go to Threads, wherever. And you can see it for yourself if you haven't already seen it. New York City residents' top concerns are public safety, affordability, quality of life, and the local economy. Ackman, who donated to Cuomo's campaign in the past, in all these years Mayor Adams has had impressive accomplishments. Ackman, a former Democrat who now backs President Donald Trump, said Adams is blazing with enormous energy and clarity to take on Mamdani, while Cuomo was offering subdued energy. Now you're probably wondering why Ackman isn't backing Curtis Sliwa. Some of you are old enough to remember the Red Berets that used to patrol New York City and keep it safe back in the 70s. Curtis is running in the Republican seat, but there hasn't been a Republican mayor in New York City in a long time, if ever. I'd have to Google it, but we'll move on. Nvidia is set to become the world's most valuable company in history. From Reuters, Nvidia hit a market value of $3.92 trillion today, on track to become the most valuable company in history as Wall Street doubled down on optimism about AI. Shares of the leading designer of high-end AI chips rose as much as 2.4% to $160.98 in morning trading, giving the company a higher market capitalization than Apple's record closing value of $3.915 trillion on December 26th of 2024. Now Sam Altman, the guy behind ChatGPT, he's got a course. You can become a certified AI dude in 7 days. And it's really affordable. And I already told you earlier this week that I was going to take the course and get certified. I don't know what I'll do with the certification, but I guess I'll hang it on the wall with my other stuff. But I really do want to learn how to make the best use of this incredible technology. Now, I'm a little bit afraid of it, but I think that makes it that much more important that I fully understand it. And I mentioned this in a previous article, but House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries is blocking a final vote on Republicans' tax and spending package with a lengthy floor speech bashing the bill. This guy rambled on for 6 hours. And Fetterman said like 2 days ago, could we just please go home? He goes, I don't want to be here. I want to be on the beach. You know who one of the most prominent Republicans in America is today? Democratic Senator Fetterman. And the last bit of news from Wall Street. Oil declined after Axios reported the U.S. plans to restart nuclear talks with Iran, reducing the risk of another flare-up in the Middle East conflict. Well, what do you know? Okay, local news. Logic 247. It hasn't changed since Monday. Sunday night, I published alert number 20,000. 20,000 individual handcrafted alerts. And what we averaged over 361 weeks was 20% or less of the alerts being stopped out based on simple market structure and a simple process we teach all of our passport holders. The purpose of the logic alerts was to help you learn how to read a chart, because if you're going to become anything in the world, whatever career path you choose, you got to be able to read the textbooks, the journals, whatever goes along with that particular job. If you work in landscaping and the boss buys you a new weed eater, well, you got to be able to read the instructions how to operate it, right? So we all agree reading is fundamental, okay? But with trading, you trade off the charts, unless you're a fundamental trader, and, well, that's no fun. But a technical trader has to be able to read the chart where there's no words, sentences, paragraphs, or punctuation. And You've been around a while. Logic 247 taught you exactly how to do that. Am I saying I'll never post another Logic 247 alert? I haven't made that decision yet, but I'll keep it posted. Just kind of taking a break, giving Valerie a break, because all 20,000 of those alerts, she came behind me and did the recaps. And I'm going to be honest with you, the recap is much harder work than the actual alerts. So, I don't know if you're tuned in, Valerie, but thank you so much. I could not have done it without you. Okay, long before we had a Logic 247, we had the concierge trade alerts, and we still have them. Whereas the logic alerts used to go out around the clock, 2 a.m. or 2 p.m., futures trade around the clock, we have traders around the globe, our day session is a night session, and vice versa. But the CTAs, they're posted as a static report, typically 5 minutes before the market opens each evening. We all know today's the Thursday session, but the Thursday session began last night, Wednesday night, at 6 p.m. Eastern. So, 5 minutes before the Thursday session started, all of our traders and all of our trial members had all of these targets 5 minutes before the market opened. The S&P 500, the Dow, the Russell, crude oil, the NQ, gold, and silver. So as we go through the individual charts, and you see those targets printed on the charts. Stand by. Okay, I'm good. Let's go to the charts. And we'll start where we do each day. The S&P 500 E-mini futures, the bellwether, as it's called. Now the high of the session is 63.33 and a quarter. And I was told that that is the new all-time historic high for futures. Now, what did I say that was? 33 and a quarter. How close can I get it? Well, that's 30 and a quarter. I don't know why I punish myself like this. I guess I'm a masochist. So now I've got 37 and a half. The high is 33 and a quarter. Yeah, we'll leave it there. It's good enough. But look at that black step line. I'm telling you that things are going to cross blue and climbing like it did here and like it did here. And then what's going to happen? We're going to see price pulled back at least to the daily BBC. Now price always reverts to the mean. In our case, the mean is green. We call it the BBC. It simply stands for bull, bear, cross. When price crosses below the green line, like it did on February 21st, we're bearish and expect lower prices. But when price crosses back above the green line, like it did on April 24th, we're bullish and expect higher prices. Pretty cool, huh? Yep. Now, here's what's really cool. Price always reverts to the mean, no matter what strategy or tech, whatever you're doing, however you're doing it. This is an immutable fact of the markets. Price always reverts to the mean. For us, that means a pullback to the BBC. And guess what? The pullback holds more often than it doesn't. Like it did there, and there, and there, and there. Until April 24th, we closed above the BBC. Just like over here, we closed below. Now we close above. And so when price reverts to the mean, the pullback holds, the pullback holds, the pullback holds, and the pullback holds. And here we are putting in new all-time historic highs. You might be wondering why I'm showing you a daily chart, because nobody trades a daily chart, right? Wrong. Institutional traders, the guys over at BlackRock and State Street and places like that, they look at daily, weekly, and monthly charts the way you and I look at 30-minute charts, 5-minute charts, tick charts, and range charts. Why? Has everything to do with account size. You see, it's those deep pockets that actually move price. Again, has everything to do with account size. So, I challenge you, whatever you trade, future stocks, crypto, Forex, ETFs, spend 2 minutes with the daily chart of whatever you're about to trade on a smaller time frame. Just 2 minutes. Number one, you get a free look over the shoulder of the deep pockets that move price. And you're able to identify where price is most likely to find resistance. And on the way up, we nailed it, and we nailed it, and we nailed it. Not because we have some magic trick or some secret. Because we know how to read a chart. And the chart tells you where to expect resistance, where to expect support. And it did it almost flawlessly. On the way down and on the way up. So you get a free look over the shoulder of the deep pockets that move price, and you're able to identify where the market's most likely to find resistance and support. And that's important if you're serious about trading. Now I'm going to add something to the chart that we haven't had on there in a while. I'm going to take this pullback low. I'm going to connect it to that high. And then I'm going to grab this guy. If I can get it to go green. Oh, come on. Can't get it to go green. Maybe if I pull it up high. No, that ain't going to do it either. I may have to diddle with this after the broadcast. Come on. There we go. And I'm going to connect it to that swing low. Okay. So for this swing low, oh, now I got to fix this. But that should be simple. To that swing high. Well, I'm going to get it in a minute. I just need to drag it over a tiny bit. Okay. Now, most of you are familiar with fibs. These are fib extensions. Because you see we're at all-time historic highs. So looking left is not going to do us any good. And guess what? We've already exceeded the 100% fib extension. Well, that's an issue. All right. We're going to have to wait for another retracement so that I can put these extensions on. See, the fib extensions show you where to expect. You connect a swing low to the most recent swing high and then the retracement low, and it plots into the future. But we just don't have a setup right now that will give us that luxury. I don't think this is going to help matters. I think it'll make it worse. No, it's going to fix it. Yeah. It's been a while since I had to put these on because of the structure of the market, but now we need them. Aha. From this low to this high to this retracement low. We're right up against the 62% fib extension. Now normally we look left to see where we're going to find potential resistance, but at an all-time high, when you look left, there's nothing there. So that's when you use your fib extensions as opposed to your fib retracements. So this number up here, 65.85. Now that's an area because I haven't got these at exactly the right spot. But from this low to this high to this low tells us that we're going to have possibly some difficulty. In fact, we ran up to the 62% fib extension and we've already pulled back. Once we get through the 62, that's if we get through the 62, then the next major resistance is up here at 65. That says 65.85, right? Yep. Just might want to write that down. Okay. All right. Hang on for a second. I think somebody's trying to storm my fortress. No big deal, they couldn't get across the moat. The guard dog let me know. They were trying. So watch this number 2, because if we maybe put in a slightly higher high today, 63.47 is potential resistance. And then after that, 65.85. Okay. All alerts, Logic 247, and the concierge trade alerts are created on the 30-minute chart. Nothing magic about 30 minutes. It's just the time frame I chose years ago, and I've stayed with it. These are called windows of opportunity. Okay. Now, I did these last night. I posted each one in the Telegram discussion group and the trial discussion group. And they all have a timestamp. So this was a 6-point window. And as you can see, we fill the window. And as the market often does, it retraced and filled it again. So if you caught both moves, that's 12 plus points. Or 12 points. You only need 2 points to get your goal for the day. That's a week's worth of work right there. If you caught both moves. But look at what's happening up here. The step line has crossed blue and climbing. The black line, see how all the way up it was running parallel, but it was on the left side of blue and climbing. Now it's on the right side. So what does that mean? It means we expect price to retrace back to the BBC. Now, markets are fractal in nature. So when this daily black line crosses blue and climbing, we will expect a retracement back to the daily BVC. So that just may be the high of the session, because once that thing crosses, the probability of us pulling back to the BVC before we go any higher is extraordinarily high. Now you'll notice this candle found support right here. You see this crevice where you have one wick pointing up and one wick pointing down? Boom. Look at the wick on that red candle. Perfect. Now this could also be a potential area of support. But I'm just telling you, once the step line crosses, more often than not, price is coming back to the BVC. If price were to just start to consolidate sideways, then the BVC would rise to meet price. And that creates a little different dynamic. So here's where the market opened last night. Remember, all of our traders, all of our trial members had these targets 5 minutes before the market opened. So we opened above the BVC, so we're thinking higher prices. However, when blue and climbing gets directly above price, it tends to act as resistance. It sent price back to the BVC, and I may have mentioned the pullback holds more often than it doesn't. So support will send the market looking for resistance, which it found at the long target. Resistance sends the market back to support at the BVC. Support sends the market looking for resistance. So this move just kind of ran out of gas at 63.33 and a quarter. Now, I'm not ruling out that we could go higher today, but it would be unusual because price would need to drop all the way back here and then climb again. And with the markets closed, I guess that's not going to happen. Neither one of them is going to happen, right? It's 10:15, 11:15, 12:15, 1:15. So, what does that mean? Markets are closed. So Sunday night, when the markets open for the Globex session, Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern, I'll be here in the trenches, putting out information, putting out the CTAs, drawing windows of opportunity. So this right here will be frozen in time till Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern. And usually after a holiday weekend, there's a lot of pent-up energy, and so we may have a gap higher open, we may have a gap lower open. So you might not want to trade the first few minutes the market's open. Let it expend that energy that is built up over the long weekend, and then when that normal rhythm returns, that's when you want to get in the water. Okay? All right. So no, we didn't hit the short target, but we definitely hit the long target once, twice, 3 times, and we filled the long window of opportunity 2 times. The Dow. Here's where we opened last night. Pretty much flatlined all night. And then when the news came out this morning at 8:30, boom, we filled the 20-point window of opportunity. And look where the market found resistance on that move. You see where blue turned to red? Bang. Right there. Now the vertical lines, that separates today, Thursday, from yesterday, Wednesday. The horizontal lines are the weekly trading zones. Now the ES, it looked like at one point early on we might be able to get to the highest weekly zone, but now that the markets are closed, I can say with 100% confidence that's not going to happen. Now the highest weekly zone and the lowest weekly zone we're not calling for the market to actually hit those numbers. The way the zones work, and we've published them for our members every Monday for 15.5 years. When price rallies up to a weekly trading zone, we expect resistance. When price drops to a weekly zone, we expect support until proven otherwise. The zones come out Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Once they're published, they're carved in stone for the entire week. They don't change in any way whatsoever. So we just covered the Dow. That's the highest weekly zone on the Dow. And the Dow has crossed. So Sunday night, I'm telling you, maybe we get a gap higher open for some reason. But the market's coming back to the VVC. Okay. Russell. Here's the open last night. And we ran right up to the long target. Resistance. Blue and climbing was on the top of price. Sent us back to the step line. Now, this first attempt where we entered the window didn't fill. But then it filled and filled and filled. Now, we exceeded the highest weekly trading zone on the Russell for a few minutes. This was a green candle all the way up off the 8:30 news. But look where that 30-minute candle closed. Right on top of the long target. I know I say this a lot. See the fill there and the fill there. Anyway, when we trade through a long target and get a pullback, what was resistance will very often become support. And it did, pretty much to the tick. Now, the step line hasn't crossed blue and climbing yet. And it can't till Sunday night. But you see all these wicks sticking up in the air? That's another sign that the market is about to take a downturn. So keep that in mind when the market's open Sunday night. Okay. NQ. Here's where we opened last night. We had red and falling overhead. So that sent us down to the zone and the BBC. That's support times 2. Support will send the market looking for resistance, which it found at the long target. And in doing so, fill the 20-point window. Now the NQ pays $20 a point. So a 20-point window is worth $400 per contract traded. Then we pull back to the BBC, found support, the zone, the BBC, and then we fill the window again. So that would be $800 per contract traded. The step line has crossed, blue and climbing. So Sunday night, even if we gap higher on the open, look for the market to sell off, at least back down to the 30-minute BBC. Okay? All right. Crude oil. That kind of broke my heart this morning. Didn't quite fill the window. Didn't even come close. This was the opening candle, 6 o'clock last night. Price came down to the BBC, consolidated sideways, just barely tiptoed into the window, then reversed and tried to go higher, but it didn't make it to the target or the window on the long side. Now, we did finally fill the short window of opportunity over here. Pretty much to the tick. So on crude, 20 points, that's $200 per contract traded. And then we didn't quite fill it again, but that's okay. Now on crude, price is below the BBC. So that's enough reason for us to expect lower prices, unless there's some kind of geopolitical news over the weekend. You know, OPEC says we're not going to pump any more oil. Well, then prices will go up. And thank you, President Trump, for starting to refill our strategic reserve. Biden emptied it for no good reason other than to weaken America on the world stage. And he said he was going to fill it back up, but yeah. He said a lot of things, most of which were unintelligible. Here's where we opened last night on gold, and we ran straight to the long target. Is that to the tick? Nope, we missed it by one tick. 76.9, and the target was 77. So this candle opened at 69. So that's $790 per contract traded in the first 30-minute candle. Resistance will always send the market looking for support. That's how markets work, which it found at the short target. Then we go up and we fill that big, beautiful 4-point window, $400 per contract traded. Then we came back to the bottom of the window, and then we filled the window a second time, making it $800 per contract traded. And then we almost filled it a third time, but we ran into red and falling, which is resistance or potential resistance, and it was. And that sent us all the way down to fill the $300 per contract window. And we even spiked the zone a little bit, but now here's where we are. Now, here the black step line has crossed to the right side of red and falling. So what do we expect? A retracement back to the BVC. Considering the pullback holds more often than not, Sunday night we probably see another leg to the downside, but we'll probably go up first and then sell off. Okay? Now, for those who are lamenting the lack of the logic alerts, some people learn better graphically. So that's what I've focused on this week, and I may continue next week, by simply drawing these windows of opportunity and teaching our members, our traders, how to find the windows of opportunity. It's pretty simple. I mean, it's right there in front of you. I mean, if that doesn't make sense to you, and you're a member, you know, get in touch with me so I can work with you so that you see it as clearly as I do. Okay? So we filled there twice, and we filled here once. All right. The only market left is silver. Here's where we opened last night. This was the opening candle, and we ran into resistance because blue and climbing was directly above price. You see, when blue and climbing gets directly above price, it's probably on its way to becoming red and falling. One is bullish, the other is bearish. So it took us back down below the BBC, and then we had a pullback that held, and another pullback that held, and then we hit the short target. And then when the news came out, no, this was at 1:30 in the morning. Silver went crazy at 1:30. I wonder why. But anyway, you can see red and falling turned to blue and climbing, and we ripped through that window of opportunity, and that is the highest weekly trading zone for the week. Nope, there's one more above it. Okay, but we hit it to the tick. Now, please understand, these are the weekly trading zones that were published Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. And here it is Thursday. They're still doing their job. When price rallies up to a zone, we expect resistance until proven otherwise. And when price drops to a zone, we expect support until proven otherwise. Now this was a red candle all the way down, and it came within, what was the low? Came within a penny of hitting the short target. You only need 2 pennies to get your goal for the day. But by the time the 30-minute candle closed, it was back up here. So this candle opened red, came right down to this weekly trading zone and found support. So now we're above the BBC, and we have blue and climbing chasing price. So I would expect to see silver move higher Sunday night. But keep in mind, you've got a double top right here at 37.14. Then you got potential resistance at 37.18, 37.19, and then right here where blue turned to red, 37.26. Then this high, then this high, and then the zone. Now because the zones don't come out till Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern, anything I put out Sunday night will be based on this week's zones. But then once the new zones come out Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern, everything after that next week will be based on the new weekly zones. And again, once they're published, they're carved in stone for the entire week. And the old adage that U.S. markets typically rally into a holiday weekend certainly proved to be true. And those job numbers, they didn't hurt anything. But we did close a little bit off the high of the day. So not all institutional traders were willing to take home these long positions over the weekend. Now, if we had closed at the high of the day, that would have been very bullish, okay? But we didn't. Doesn't mean we can't go higher Sunday night. Just remember Sunday night that big picture, 63.47 is potential resistance. And if we clear that, your next major resistance is up at 65.85. You should probably write those numbers down. I'll post a copy of this chart in the discussion group. Okay? All right. So I already explained to you how to become a member. Email us, support@cfrn.net. Say, I want to become a member. Valerie will send you an email explaining everything you get when you become a passport holder. If you're a veteran, be sure to say, I'm a veteran and I want to become a member, so that the link she sends you will have a discount. We thank you for your service. Okay, let's wrap up this one big beautiful week with our good word for the day. Yesterday we talked about knowing when not to speak. Sometimes it's better to just say nothing. All right, good word for today is, why can't we just work together? You know, our nation, I don't think it's ever been so divided, politically and in other ways. And that's really a shame, because we're all on the same team. You know, we have different ideologies, and we think differently, and we have freedom of speech. I mean, those are all good, positive things. But when you start burning the American flag and waving your little pride flag and your little Palestine flag, we got a problem. But this is part one of why can't we work together. 3 John chapter 1, verse 9. Diotrephes, who loves to have the preeminence among them, does not receive us. So, why can't we work together? Reason number 1, insecurity. The Florentine philosopher Machiavelli said, the first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him. Insecure leaders are threatened by talented individuals. so they surround themselves with weak people. Now, don't say Joe Biden, that's just mean-spirited. But you can't say Trump, who has surrounded himself with the best of the best, so we can get rid of the worst of the worst. True story. Isn't it amazing how history continues to repeat itself? Now, when a weak leader is threatened by talented individuals, as I said, they surround themselves with weak people. Don't say Kamala Harris. As a result, the work suffers and everybody involved suffers too. When a leader responds to a genuine question by saying, "How dare you challenge my authority?" they're dangerous and often not worth following. Insecure leaders usually fail for two reasons. They want to maintain their control over everything, or they're afraid of being replaced by someone more competent. Either way, leaders who don't encourage teamwork weaken their own potential and discourage those around them, and sometimes you get cooed. U.S. President Woodrow Wilson said, "We should not only use all the brains we have, but all that we can borrow." Yeah, surround yourself with smart people. And President Trump's not only not afraid to surround himself with smart men, he's surrounded by a lot of strong, smart women. John the Apostle tells us that Diotrephes, a leader in the church, loves to have the preeminence. What was this man's problem? He wanted to blow everybody else's light out in order to let his own light shine. So John writes, "This is why, if I come, I will remind him of the works he is doing, slandering us with malicious words." And he is not satisfied with that. He not only refuses to welcome fellow believers, but he even stops those who want to do so and expels them from the church. Dear friend, do not imitate what is evil, but what is good. The one who does good is of God. The one who does evil has not seen God. That's 3 John chapter 1, verses 10 and 11. So the good word for today, let God's approval, which you already have as a believer, make you secure. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell. Have a blast at this 4th of July weekend and take some time to remember what it is we're really celebrating. It's not birds and fireworks. It's something far greater. One nation under God.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading Emini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.